Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. First tonight, retirement village residents are banding together, pushing back against recent excessive fee hikes imposed by providers. The new body is calling for changes to be made to state legislation to provide greater protection for residents.
Standing up for their rights, residents of retirement villages are rallying together to increase representation.
We felt the need to have some organisation that could broadly represent the interests of members of retirement villages here in Tasmania.
It's definitely needed, yes, there's no question about that. We haven't had one in the past because there's been no need for it. When someone jumps up by the amount that Southern Cross have, we need someone to represent us.
The Tasmanian Association for Residents of Retirement Villages, also known as TAV, launching today with members turning out in force, triggered by aged care providers around the state hiking up fees.
I live in the young town out here in the retirement village there, and our fees went up 50%. One of the villages down south was 59%. So, you know, they were big jumps because most up till now it's all been CPI. But to make a jump like that shocked us.
Basically, it's left a door wide open for and I would use the word ruthless, operator to increase fees unreasonably.
The organisation plans to lobby for amendments to the Retirement Villages Act 2004 to better protect the rights and financial security of residents.
Every other state in Australia has clauses in their act that protect the financial rights and responsibilities of the residents. Tasmania's Act does not, unfortunately, have that in it.
It would be absolutely fantastic if we could look at tightening up the provisions in the Retirement Villages Act.
The group making headway to improve the lives of retirees, gaining support from local MPs.
They have put together information for me so I can ascertain what the situation is, what the position is currently in Tasmania, what protections exist for residents of retirement villages, but also, most importantly, to be able to inform the Attorney General.
A proactive body hoping to make change. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
Police are alarmed they had to charge around 30 drunk and drug drivers leaving party in the paddock this morning.
We conducted 1,593 random breath tests, and out of that, disappointingly, we detected 27 drink drivers. Very disappointingly, 9 of those drivers were on provisional licences and shouldn't have had alcohol in their systems at all.
The highest reading was 0.101, twice the legal limit. 2 drivers also tested positive for illicit drugs. Over the weekend, another 2 were evicted from the festival for antisocial behaviour. Despite this, police say they were generally happy with the crowds. And Super Bowl fever swept across Tasmania as NFL fans hit local venues. Hundreds came together to celebrate the biggest game in the world as passionate cheers rang out on the streets.
An electric atmosphere for a monumental sporting moment. Excitement erupts inside the Queen's Head Hotel.
1, 2, 3, cheers!
It was the southern home of Super Bowl madness, fans revealing their game day predictions early on.
I think the Chiefs will win by 3.
I'm going for the Eagles, I think.
I think they've got a bit over the Chiefs today, I reckon.
The Knights Gridiron Club banding together to put their passion on display.
It's technical, it's really interesting. You see all the movies with American football in it and you just get excited about it.
For more than 20 years, the sports showpiece event has been an annual tradition for the former lineup of Tasmania's University Wildcats team.
Just like a reunion for us, so...
In the north of the state, the iconic sporting display also had NFL buffs glued to the screen.
It's good that people follow the sport, so I played a game myself up in New South Wales. So
obviously the Eagles today all the way.
The sport continues to cultivate a strong Australian fan base, with several venues across the state choosing to embrace the Super Bowl spirit.
The sport's been growing year on year, both down here in Tassie and in Australia. And it's great having 2 Aussies playing in the game today with Philadelphia, so very exciting for the sport.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Psychologists say we need to do better by our children and families by boosting mental health services in schools. There are calls for more psychologists to be employed as demand rises.
Psychologist Emma Brown is seeing more and more children in need of help.
We're seeing severe depression and anxiety symptoms, problems with their gender identity, their sexuality, eating disorders.
Many students are unable to get time with their school psychologists as demand for all kinds of mental health professionals increases.
Children would benefit from being able to be seen earlier, as early as possible, so that they can get support before their symptoms progress to be really quite serious and complex.
There is the opportunity to provide much more intensive social work resources across school communities.
There's the full-time equivalent of 75 psychologists employed in state schools. That's roughly one for every 800 students. Principals and wellbeing leaders are also being given mental health training. The state government has invested in extra psychologists and social workers for schools. However, the Education Union wants to see that continue to bring the ratio down further to around 500 students per psychologist.
Psychologists are crucial in diagnosing learning difficulties such as ADHD or dyslexia, and without that diagnosis, funding is missing for children who don't then get the support they need. And even being able to identify strategies that are important for those students.
Giving the next generation the best chance of success. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The sails have been lowered on the Royal Hobart Regatta and Wooden Boat Festival for another year. The final events and activities taking place across Hobart, with the next generation of boaties getting a taste of life on the water.
A colourful way to mark the end of Hobart's celebration of all things nautical. The skies lighting up with fireworks last night. As the sun rose this morning, it was time for one final fling. The Hobart Regatta's Come and Try Day proving popular.
If you've never been on a jet ski, now's your chance. Come and try it. If you've never been on a paddleboard, come and try it.
Children getting a chance to take the plunge into water sports.
I enjoy the seal dunk. That's pretty fun.
Vital water safety tips a key feature.
For me, it's very, very important to have that water safety message put across, not to go out unless you've got the correct gear on.
Also hoping to inspire the next generation of skippers and regatta leaders.
And a lot of what you see now is as a result of the younger people saying, we can do this better.
Sullivan's Cove was full of sailors taking their final glimpse of wooden boats from across the country. This one, named the Salty Dog, was built in 1971 for use at a Sydney sailing club. Left to rot in the 1990s, it was fully restored by a Gold Coast boat builder, the process taking more than 2,000 hours.
It shows its age as it goes along. It gets a few cracks and bumps in it, but we like that part about it. I mean, I think I like it to be a little bit authentic.
Future designers also learned the meaning of sink or swim in the traditional quick and dirty challenge. And then it was time to say goodbye for another year. The Admiral sail drawing the weekend to a close, with hundreds taking part in the farewell flotilla. Setting sail for home, many vowed to be back.
It's just a great atmosphere. I mean, you couldn't get a better setting than Hobart, really, if you had to have a boat festival.
Hopefully it'll continue for another 185 years. I might still be around though.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
A new romance is brewing between Duquesne and Hillwood Berries, with the two Tassie businesses joining forces to release a new brew just in time for Valentine's Day. The raspberry sour beer features a bright berry colour and slightly tart taste, perfect for summer and aimed at non-beer drinkers.
A really simple base beer, so fairly low alcohol, it's about 3%. Yeah, lightly sour, it's quite dry, so really refreshing, and then just loads of fruit character, so really aromatic. Obviously the colour is amazing, and yeah, loads of raspberry flavour.
Depending on demand, Duquesne hopes to continue the special brew for the foreseeable future, with plans to can the beverage very soon.
Tasmania will need to bat deep tomorrow to avoid defeat in the Sheffield Shield. Ben McDermott reached 50 before being dismissed by Adam Zampa, with the Tigers slumping to 7 for 155 at one stage. A dogged 75 from Bo Webster, however, saved Tasmania from the follow-on.
Expansive drive into the offside. Backward as square, it goes for 4.
New South Wales eventually dismissed the visitors for just 236. Daniel Hughes reached a quick-fire 63 before the Blues declared on 1 for 105 late in the evening. Chasing 287 for victory, Tasmania were none for 6 at stumps. The Jack Jumpers will take inspiration from their dream run last season in a bid to revive their semi-final series. Tasmania was outplayed by the Breakers yesterday and now must win Game 2 at MyState Bank Arena. While disappointed with the performance, the coach says they've been in this situation before.
Last year with United smacking us in the first game in Melbourne, and we were quite resilient back at home, and we'll see how it goes.
Just keep moving the ball, just keep owning our spots and do that. Got great looks, so just got to knock them down.
The team have arrived home and will practice this week ahead of Thursday's clash. Tasmanians were front of the bunch at the weekend's Mountain Bike National Championships, taking multiple titles. Our new elite men's champ Sam Fox says the attack, which won him gold, was one of the hardest things he's ever done on the bike.
Returning to Launceston this afternoon, Sam Fox's luggage is a little heavier than when he left, bagging 3 golds at the National Mountain Bike Championships.
It's something every athlete dreams of, is winning their national title in their chosen sport. So to do it in the first year elite is unbelievable. It's going to take some time to sink in.
After wins in the short track and relay, Fox was favourite for yesterday's cross-country title.
We see Sam Fox back in the lead. And he's got a gap. He's got a gap.
He does.
Attacking on the 4th of 6 punishing laps at Thredbo.
The jaws open. He's breathing hard here. He's making this. This is a big effort. He is putting the hammer down.
I attacked when I was hurting because I knew everyone else would be hurting. Had to dig pretty deep. I haven't had to go that deep in a long time. So I was cramping across the line, but we just held on for the win.
The Fox couldn't be hunted down and now has to make good on a bet.
I've promised my boss before I won that I'd do a shoey if I won, so I've got to come through on that one when I get to work tomorrow.
Tasmanians battled at the front all weekend, taking 12 podiums in total. Easy Flint also claiming 2 titles in the under-23 women.
Being at altitude makes the race really hard, but no, I was really happy with how we rode, and I think it was nice to be back competing.
Making her mark and ready to take over in the elites. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. Hobart 22 for the Regatta Day holiday. Launceston the state's high with 24 degrees, Devonport 23, Burnie 22. Now, due to the west-southwesterly flow, temperatures mostly sat below average around the state. Bushy Park and Friendly Beaches 22, Lowhead 21, King Island reached 20, St Helens and Strawn 19 today, and Flinders Island 18. Mostly overcast skies as low cloud moved over from the west, relatively cloud-free through Bass Strait. Tropical parts of the nation had extensive cover today, linked to the monsoon trough. Some storm activity is over central WA and some low cloud gathered near the New South Wales and Victorian coasts. Tomorrow, most of southeastern Australia sits under a ridge of high pressure. A low forms on the monsoon trough with an inland trough through New South Wales and Queensland. West to northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots over southern waters with lighter, more variable winds for the remaining coastline. Hobart 23 tomorrow and partly cloudy as well for Adventure Bay with 21 and Tarraleah 22 degrees. Cool overnight, 4 there. 10 to 26 for Launceston, the temperature range. Partly cloudy for Devonport, 22 and 23 for Bridport. Burnie expecting 21 on a mostly sunny day. Partly cloudy for Strawn, 21. 21 also for Marrawar. 21.2 for St Helens and Swansea, partly cloudy for Whitemark on Flinders, 22 the maximum. UV at 9 but still in the very high range. On Wednesday, patchy morning fog followed by a fine mostly sunny day. Hobart and Launceston 27, Strawn 25. Launceston tipped to reach 30 on Thursday with warm weather over most parts, and on Friday a fine partly cloudy day with the temperature still nice and warm. 27 and sunny in Perth, fine as well for Adelaide and Melbourne tomorrow. Showers on the way for Sydney and even a possible storm in Brisbane. Sunny and 18 in Hobart right now, 21 degrees in Launceston and 19 in Devonport, and that's the weather for Valentine's Day Eve.
And that is all your news for now. Good night.